It's not the end of the pandemic, and I think we've got to be clear about that. This virus is still with us. We see in other parts of the world it's still causing a lot of problems, and case levels here in Scotland remain high. The pressure on the National Health Service is still significant, but we're entering a new phase. As of this weekend, there are no legal restrictions in place anymore, and I think that is something for all of us to feel encouraged about and optimistic about. It's been a really tough 2 years. So we're going into, I hope, a much better phase. But I would ask people to still be sensible about this virus. Still, if you're in crowded places indoors, wear a mask to reduce the risks of transmission. And if you become unwell with any of the symptoms, and we've extended the list of symptoms now, then stay at home for a few days rather than go to work or go out and mix with others and spread the virus on. So if we're all sensible, and of course if we avoid new variants, then there is every reason now to be a lot more optimistic about the period that lies ahead. I don't think Boris Johnson is fit to be Prime Minister. I think he should have resigned already, and I think his unfitness for office is obvious to everyone. His misleading of Parliament in the wake of the serial repeated breaches of COVID regulations is just the tip, I think, of that iceberg. So I don't think he's fit for office. And, it's not that long ago that Douglas Ross said he wasn't fit for office and he should resign. Douglas Ross doesn't appear to be able to hold to one opinion for more than a day or a couple of days at a time. And it just shows, I think, a lack of real principle, a lack of resolve, a lack of consistency. And, I think that is... these are things that people will draw conclusions on about Douglas Ross, but I think people have already largely made up their minds about Boris Johnson, and he is deeply unfit for office. I think it is deeply depressing that women in this day and age still face on a daily basis examples of sexism and misogyny, and they span a spectrum from inappropriate comments at one end of that spectrum through, for some women, to serious sexual assault and murder at the other end of that spectrum. And women in public life attract a lot of that abuse and misogyny every single day. I have not been subject to that kind of physical experience that I've heard accounted today, but I, like every woman on the face of the planet, have suffered sexism and misogyny, and that's down to attitudes, the way you're described, the abuse that is hurled at you on social media. As I was referencing in the Scottish Parliament yesterday, my own experience, along with Theresa May, on the front page of the Daily Mail, being reduced to our legs. These are the daily experiences of women, and it's all women who suffer this. Not all men are misogynists, but all women suffer misogyny, and it really needs to change. And it needs to change for women everywhere, but it needs to change in public life, or we're going to have a situation where it gets harder and harder to encourage women to come forward and stand for elected office. And if that happens, everybody suffers from that. So it's time to change. We are about to take forward the Baroness Kennedy proposals in Scotland to create new laws to tackle misogyny, but fundamentally this is a problem of male behaviour, and it's men that need to change that behaviour, and it's long past time that they did so.